As a pedestrian, I hate cyclists. Working in the city. Take the train. Walk to the office. Cars stop at crosswalk. But not you. You think the street is yours. As the sidewalk. And you keep screaming at pedestrian and ring your fucking bell and shout your silly watch out. And fuck you. I understand braking will take you more energy than me to start moving again. I understand bicycles is one of the best alternative to city traffic. I mean fuck cars. But fuck you too. I will never drive nor park on a bike lane. Always look into the mirror to be careful of one of you monkeys. So why can't you be careful when us peasants are walking? Oh, and fuck scooters too. As a cyclist in one of the most bike-dense cities in the world, I hate cyclists too. If I could avoid getting myself hurt, I'd be ramming at least 10 of them a day just to teach a lesson about ignoring rules and common sense. Same, I love walking. Where I live on popular trails, there are bike lanes, but the cyclists will just ride wherever they don't care and won't let you know they're coming. They'll get pissy if you don't just automatically know they're coming up from behind you. If you do much as step foot in the bike lane, they get mad, but have no problems riding side by side outside the bike lane. I cycled for years. I always followed the street rules. Always. Red light means red light. I have so many cycling friends who get into accidents and other conflicts with drivers. And yet they think it's stupid to stop at a red light. They just don't connect these two things. My biggest gripe about cyclists is that there is always some danger when you encounter them on the road. Either as a pedestrian or motorist now. Part of it isn't their fault. At least here in the US. Not much of the infrastructure is made for bicycles. But cyclists are constantly breaking the rules of the road or sidewalk to get where they're going faster. Blowing red lights. Leaving the bike lane to use the sidewalk. Splitting lanes. I always clench a little when I approach one. Wondering if this is the day I can't get out of the way. Cyclists treat red lights like stop signs and stop signs like yield signs at best. They're not allowed on sidewalks but do it anyway. Fucking hate cyclists. I'd have no problem if cyclists had respect for other road users. Where I live there are cycle lanes. But most cyclists are on the road or pavements. They ignore red lights, etc. If you want to cycle, please make it safe for yourself and others around you. It's because cycling isn't regulated like motor vehicles are, but they still get on the roads unlike pedestrians. So they don't have knowledge on the rules of the road that drivers have. There's also some sort of hypocrisy they have where they believe drivers should give way to them. Because bikes are more vulnerable than cars, while expecting pedestrians to give way to them because they're moving faster. There's a reason so many cyclists die each year. They all seem to pick and choose which laws they want to follow. It's always safer to assume they'll do whatever they want and everyone else needs to adapt to them. I think everyone hates cyclists. Cyclists included. I skateboard, so I guess I'm good. Not unpopular. Everyone hates cyclists. CLA Arkson. As a driver, I hate you both. GF lives in a college town. It's as if there's some kinda fucking death wish among the student cycling population. I feel ya. The only thing I hate more than cyclists is electric scooters. Fuck cars ripping out their hair RN. I loathe cyclists. Selfish, entitled lycra lunatics. As a cyclist, I hate everyone. Everyone hates cyclists, as it should be. Cyclists shouldn't be on sidewalks. I get the sentiment. My feeling is the root cause is they don't have their own infrastructure. Cars and peds do. So cyclists are always forced into a non-ideal path. I'm aware they have rights to the road, but cars and bikes really struggle to share an infrastructure clearly made for cars. So if we invest in cycling infrastructure, everyone would probably be happier. As a cyclist, I hate pedestrians. Here in Germany, there is bike lanes. One part for bikes and one for pedestrians on traffic lights, etc. But the pedestrians just ignore them. Form walls of people blocking the bike lane. Don't look while crossing the bike lane. Even cars respect us more than you. There's an accident here involving car running over a cyclist who crossed a red traffic light. And guess who take the blame? IDK about other places, but here cyclists are constantly breaking the law and never getting ticketed for it. It makes no sense to me. I don't think it'd make a huge difference, but I do think some cyclists would think twice about disregarding the rules if those rules were actually enforced. Completely agree. I was ran over almost 3 times in Berlin. And every single time I checked before crossing, but they just suddenly spawned right in the way. As a driver, I concur. As a pedestrian, I hate everyone who's not a pedestrian. And some pedestrians too. The cyclist came and took my baby. Every word of this is pure wisdom. As a insert anyone, including cyclist, I hate cyclists. People don't want to hear it when it comes from automobilists because GNGN cars are more dangerous. And drivers are entitled, but reality is cyclists are just the worst, whether I'm on foot, driving a car, or riding a bicycle myself. Cyclists are always the ones being absolute public hazards. Heck, when I'm on my bike and stop at the stop sign on a cycle lane to let the cars go, they look at me as if I'm Jesus or something. They even try to let me pass first because of how used they are to cyclists who just can't be bothered to respect the damn stop sign. Completely agree. A cycling license similar to driving should be required. Far too many cyclists who doesn't know, and those who don't just give a F about traffic rules. Where I live, the cyclists just refuse to take the bike lane and either block the traffic because the rather use the street, or they decide to use the pedestrian side of the sidewalk. The frickin' bike lane is as big as the pedestrian one. There is no excuse not to use it, and they still won't. One of them almost hit me if I hadn't dodged it. If the cyclist only drove a few inches to the left, there would have been a bike lane and it wouldn't happened. Of course the person didn't apologize and just cursed at me. As a car driver, I also hate cyclists. Saw one on a 45 miles per hour the other day despite there being a sidewalk and a bike lane. I completely agree. Cyclists have a lot of rights on the roads and are very vocal about them, but think they can do whatever the fuck they want at roundabouts and pedestrian crossings. Laughs in being Dutch. I recently got a bike in Japan and there isn't any room on the street to ride my bike. Most people are fine when I'm on the sidewalk. However, the worst ones are groups of 2 or more who try and take up as much space as possible, allowing nobody to pass. Same with the people who constantly switch between the left and right side of the sidewalk. It's really annoying to see how little spatial awareness they have. I hate cyclists like that. I don't have a car, so my bike is my main source of transportation, and I don't ride like that. So far, from what I've noticed in my area, I'm the only one that follows the damn rules in my city XD. No matter where you are and who you are, driver or walker, scooter or flyer, we all hate cyclists.